Second. Whatever happens in the material world is going to happen. Everything is arranged by Krishna. Not a blade of grass moves without his sanction. So we just have to roll with the punches. This material, if shit happens, you ever heard that there's a T-shirt that goes "shit happens"?
Yes.
You ever seen that?
Yep.
If the Jews say, "Oh, why is this shit always happening to us?" And then the Protestants say, if shit happens, uh, it's because of somebody else. And if the Catholics say if shit happens, we deserve it, and if the devotees say let shit happen again and again,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
then
Yeah,
the
I
Rastafarians
Actually,
say smoke this shit.
yeah.
Pot
Actually,
joke, ha ha ha. I hate
Sri
pot jokes.
Prabhuji.
Yes.
So I know, like, what was it? I had my headphones on, so I was like turning them off, and then I didn't. What you said about your spiritual master saying, I heard like the first sentence. Uh,
Oh, because you didn't have any audio? Oh, the spiritual master said,
I got a little confused.
he said, how can I serve you now, my Lord? This is basically, that's Christian Consciousness 101, because we're supposed to be, actually in the mood of service. And if we really develop attraction for Krishna, we'll automatically go to him. See that the supreme occupation for humanity is that by which we can attain to loving devotional service to the Supreme. And this comes from hearing. So whatever leads you to hear, an attraction for hearing, that is your occupation, because there's nothing higher than that. If we're attracted to Krishna, everything else is a useless waste of time if it doesn't lead to attraction to Krishna. So that is the bottom line. And so when we're spontaneously attracted,
Are you
then we're actually on the path, and we can talk to Krishna all day long. All we have to do is ask him, "How can I serve you, my Lord, my now, right now? I want to know how." In every time and circumstance, we can ask him that, and he'll give us the intelligence if we're sincere and we're open to his suggestions. So we can figure it out. And so therefore, we always have to be purifying ourselves by reading what we're doing tonight, and then we'll gradually become attracted to this message because it's so sublime. We're going to start reading from, let me just pull it up here. Um, hmm, okay. I'm going to start reading because we only had Hemang
yeah.
the other day. And
What happened?
well, Sean forgot, and so it
Oh,
was two guys Prīti Sandarbha session.
no. I did
Uh,
want to say, Prabhuji, that I know, like, I noticed like a minute or two ago, like, I couldn't hear like the audio.
okay, well, we'll just this is not
And
this is
then
just
out.
chit chat before our
Okay.
thing. So we're going to get into it right now. Let me just pull up the
And
page here.
could I briefly talk about the my day, about the shit that happened? Not all external.
Yeah, sure.
Okay. So yeah, it was like I was hurrying for the bus. I was like, all right. And then I'm like, oh, it's one way according to transit. So I'm like, no, I'm gonna take a different bus route. Didn't even step outside. And then I got to Oakland, Pitt's campus, and crossed the street. And of all things, like I look on Google Maps, and like I learned sometime later that Google Maps is actually having a weak GPS signal. And I'm like, what? It said it was offline. I'm like, what is going on here? And I kept trying to do over and over. It was freezing. My backpack got drenched. The bus that I needed to catch, I was at the bus stop as well with a few other people, but the bus just went straight past. And I
Oh,
was like, really? And then after that, there was some hellishness with the umbrella continuing going inside out and the wind being crazy and all that.
the wind was crazy
I've
today too.
experienced all those things. Someone bus passing me. I actually even did one time where it was a bad winter and I stepped into a bunch of slush and it went all down to my boot before getting on the bus.
Uh,
Yeah, so I've had buses pass me and splash stuff all over me. I mean, I've had all kinds of adventures.
Yeah. You
I'm,
know, that's the way New Vrindavan was in the beginning, you know. They had
Mhm.
that mile and a half walk all the way up through the
Yeah, that's
mud
crazy.
road. It was mud. They used to say New
Oh,
Vrindavan means mud. It's not just like it's
wait,
muddy. It means mud.
what
There's so
means
much mud
mud,
in
Prabhupada?
springtime. That we truck up this road to the Brahmachari ashram, this little 250-year-old wood cabin in the middle of the forest. And you know, sometimes the brahmacharis, you know, everybody gets there. It's kind of like a communist situation. You know, you get your what you need, like a toothbrush and a pair of boots,
Mhm.
because everybody needs boots in muddy New Vrindavan, you know. So, you know, they used to say that New Vrindavan devotees are like walking books because they're like always reading the books and they're repeating the books. But New Vrindavan devotees, they said they're walking books with boots on. Because they always, but the brahmacharis used to walk up that road and they'd get their foot stuck in the mud. You know, speaking of your situation there, and they would pull their foot up and then, you know, they would get repeatedly stuck. And then one time, you know, this one brahmachari, his boot came off and he lost his boot in the mud and he just sat down and just started crying.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, wow.
I mean, you know, it's really tough. I mean,
Yeah,
said
just
New
a small
Vrindavan
thing like that
means
will break you.
austerity.
Yeah.
You need, if you're going to go to New Vrindavan, it means you have to undergo some austerity, especially back then. They didn't have, at that cabin, they didn't have any hot or cold running water. They didn't have any electricity. They didn't have anything.
Crazy.
So Sikh Prabhu, uh, you said, was it New Vrindavan means mud? Was that
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
It
Yeah.
does?
Wow.
There's
I
so
was
much
like,
mud.
I was
I
like,
witnessed it.
huh?
I was there when that happened, you know,
And
and
then,
I lived in that brahmachari ashram for a few months. It was really ecstatic, though. I mean, you know,
yeah.
they get up at like really early and they have RT. I'm Prabhupada came there personally too. But anyway, let's start here because we're already 13 minutes into it here,
Oh,
and
yeah.
so I'm going to we're going to just read a page at a time, and only the English part. Now we're into Vatsalya Ras, which means the pastimes between Krishna when he was a baby. They call it
Mhm.
Kumar. Kumar means under 6 years old. You know, he's like a toddler. And
Um,
so, you know, Mother Yashoda would sometimes have to scold Krishna because he was a bad boy. He'd come up, he would be hungry, and his mother was churning the butter, and you know, he would tug on her sorry and want to be picked up and fed. And so, but then she had to put him down because the milk on the stove was boiling over. And so Krishna got mad and he went into the next room and broke all the pots of butter that he was churning. And Mother Yashoda came in. But anyway, this is a pastime. This is that pastime where we're describing that where Mother Yashoda had to chastise Krishna because she was always worried about, you know, she sometimes parents have to chastise their babies, even if, you know, the other Yashoda had no idea that Krishna was the Supreme Personality of Godhead, but he was, and you know, the demigods are worshiping him, but you know, the great devotee says, you know, the demigods may worship Krishna as a supreme person, but I'm worshiping this little baby that's running around in Nanda Maharaj's courtyard, which is just amazing, you know. Anyway,
Mhm.
this is Anuccheda 231. Uh, this is, he broke the water pot or the yogurt pot because they churned the yogurt into butter. That's the way, the old school way to make butter.
No.
Mother Yashoda would churn the yogurt, and then the butter would be made. But because she had to tend to the milk boiling over, she put him down, and he got pissed, and so she went into the other room to take care of the milk situation, and he just got mad and broke the yogurt pot. Says after he broke the yogurt pot, she scolded him. She grabbed the hand of Krishna, who was crying intensely because of his crime, rubbing his eyes, which were running with mascara, with his hands, and looking up at his mother with fearful glances. She made him fearful by scolding him. Understanding her son's fear, she dropped the stick. She had a stick, and filled with affection for the boy, not knowing his powers, strongly desired to tie him up with a rope. He was a bad boy, so he needed to be restrained. The meaning is clear. Shukadev speaks. Okay, so let's see. Why don't you read this Anuccheda, just what's on this page, Hemang.
All right. Hemang. Yep.
Hemang.
Yep. Just want to say quickly, I'm glad I got to my destination earlier, and I remembered, I'm like, Krishna's telling me, you need saving, chant.
Yeah, we were talking about that earlier.
Yeah, whatever situation you're in, just chant and just accept it.
Yeah.
Actually, we deserved much worse. We probably deserve to get run over by the bus.
Oh, no.
At least a couple of times. I know I do. But anyway, Krishna's minimizing these reactions that we really deserve. Yes. And so he's only giving us a taste of what we really deserve. So we should be grateful and just go on with our situation and just wanting to serve Krishna as the best we can. And then if we do that with that attitude, then we'll inherit the right to go back to Godhead because of our patience. Patience is a symptom of surrender. That's what my spiritual master also said.
All right. So I'll start reading this.
Read the just what's on the page there, English.
Yep. Actions performed as a necessity, like scolding or feeding him distasteful medicine, though they do not make him happy, are actions meant for his ultimate benefit. Mother Yashoda placed him on her lap and smiling, fed him milk which flowed spontaneously from her breast, while she gazed at his face. Though he was not finished, she put him down and quickly went to the kitchen where milk was boiling over. Oh Lord, what can you give to the people of Braja, whose houses, possessions, friends, dear ones, bodies, sons, life heirs, and hearts are dedicated only to you, since there is nothing superior to you, O Braja, which you have already given.
Okay, Zeevee, you can read the next.
Oh, okay.
You have no new messages.
Attempts to produce household wealth are for the purpose of increasing the comforts of her son. The cowherds have natural determination to produce wealth from milk for him, since this is available and the cause of their wealth. The enthusiasm for protecting milk for increasing wealth is a pastime of Vatsalya. It nourishes Vatsalya like the waves nourish the ocean. Krishna did not understand her heart, which desires to protect the wealth for her son. She thought that she must save the milk on the fire. The flow of her breast milk indicates her naturally deep affection. When Krishna broke the yogurt pot, she showed an abhasa of anger. In her mind, she was joyful by seeing his strong fickleness.
This is a very famous pastime. Go ahead and read the second sentence there, because that's the end of it.
Okay, Mother Yashoda, after taking down the hot milk from the oven, returned to the churning spot. And when she saw the container of yogurt was broken, that Krishna was not present, she concluded that the breaking of the pot was the work of Krishna and laughed. The meaning is clear.
Yeah, Krishna ran away and he broke the pot because he's a bad boy. Yeah. Okay, Anucchedas 233. A sweet smile may be used to encourage Krishna when he's in grief. When Nanda Maharaj saw his son bound with ropes to the wood and mortar and dragging it, he smiled and released Krishna from his bonds. I mean, this is after he pulled down the twin Arjuna trees. I mean, these two huge trees. The churning the grinding mortar was wedged in between the trees, and Krishna pulled them down. And it made a huge sound. And Krishna was safe, but all the coward boys his age saw this happen, and when they heard the sound, all the village residents came running, and they saw Krishna sitting there, and so Nanda Maharaj untied him. When Nanda Maharaj saw what?
Prabhuji, actually, I remember with the trees, that's where the two people or two souls
The demigods, yeah.
were released.
Demigods were the twin Arjuna trees. They were actually the sons of Kavera, and they were cavorting naked in a pond with in a lake with some denizens, these beautiful women, and they were drunk. And Narada Muni came by, and all the girls just covered themselves up very quickly because they knew that he was a saint, but they didn't even care. And so Narada Muni cursed them, but in a curse from a devotee is actually a benediction. So he cursed them to take birth as trees because trees are all naked and they stand there for a long time. And so he cursed them to be trees in Nanda Maharaj's house. And then by that, he made that arrangement, and Krishna had to release them from their bondage at those trees. And Nanda Kuvera and Manigriva were the names of the demigods. And Krishna pulled the trees down, and then they appeared from the trees, and from the touch of his feet, they became, they offered their prayers, and then Nanda Maharaj came and released his son from the grinding mortar. And another vision is Prasad Vadanam. He released Krishna, who smiled. The meaning is clear. Shukadev speaks. Go ahead, Hemang.
Yep. The parents worry about his being harmed by the wicked. O killer of Madhu, sinful Kansa should not know that you have been born to me. With mind unsteady because of your mercy, I fear what Kans will do to you. The meaning.
See, that's when right after he appeared in that prison cell, she was worried that Krishna that Kamsa would know that he was born. He was in his four-armed form, like Vishnu, all decorated with helmet and earrings and everything. And so she was worried that Kamsa would come and kill him too, just like he did with all her other babies, smashed them against the rock. But Krishna turned himself into a baby, and then Nanda Maharaj took him to Vrindavan and replaced him with Mother Yashoda's newborn girl, who happened to be Durga, and they made a switcheroo. And that's the pastime that they're talking about here. Okay, so Anucchedas 235, these are pretty short. Here's another example of their anubhavas. When Mother Yashoda and Rohini were unable to protect the babies from calamities threatened by horned cows, by fire, animals with claws and teeth, such as monkeys, dogs, and cats, by thorns, swords, or other weapons on the ground, they were always in anxiety. Just like a mother, you're a mother, Zeevee. So,
Yeah,
if there's like
this on that level, it's interesting.
if there's some danger in the house, like kids will put their fingers or something in the electric socket, so you got to always be on guard, especially when they're toddlers. They can run around and just, you know, just like, like for example, Eric Clapton's son, he fell out the window
Oh my
and
God. What?
he
Oh,
died a long
Oh,
time ago.
wow.
He wrote a song about it.
Holy hell. That's
Yeah, that's it's pretty famous pastime there. But there's always danger, and the parents can't
Oh,
really save the son or their children, even though they think that they're the protectors. But only Krishna can protect someone. If Krishna wants to kill you, no one can protect you. If Krishna wants to save you, no one can kill you. Mare Krishna Rake Krishna Mare Ke.
mm.
They worshiped the Lord for his protection. The great-minded Maharaj, Nanda Maharaj gave clothing, ornaments, and cows in charity to the cowherd men in order to please Vishnu, and thus he improved the condition of his son in all respects. Quote, this is when Krishna was newly born. They perform a sacrifice, or they give in charity to the Brahmanas so that the Brahmanas will bless the newborn child. By this I will please Vishnu, and thus my son will have auspiciousness. And this vow, Nanda Maharaj performed worship of everyone. Okay, go ahead, Zeevee.
ah, okay. Zeevee.
It's your turn, right,
Is it mine?
Zoe?
Okay, I think so, yeah. When his powers were noticed by others, they thought that there was another cause of this happening. It is most astonishing that although this innocent child was taken away by the Rakshasa to be eaten, he has returned without having been killed or even injured. Because this demon was envious, cruel, and sinful, he has been killed for his own sinful activities. This is the law of nature. An innocent devotee is always protected by the Supreme Lord, and a sinful person is always vanquished for his sinful life. This happens even though the parents witness his actions. After considering that the universe in Krishna's belly was perhaps his natural power, Yashoda concluded that this was impossible and accepted that the Supreme Lord Narayana was the cause of her vision. In
Yeah.
order to extinguish this vision, as in the case of calamity, she took shelter of his lotus feet and surrender. Confirming her own existence, she surrenders. By pointing out her identity, she indicates that she witnessed the event. Thinking that this vision of the universe was a delusion, she surrenders to the Lord.
Okay, so you can read the next few paragraphs here, Hemang.
All right. Um, let's see.
This is a
When,
statement of Shukadev.
yep. This is a statement of Sukadev. When Yashoda understood the truth, the Supreme Master, by the influence of the internal potency, spread mercy by having her develop the deepest affection for her son. When she understood about her son, Itam Vidita Tatvayam, the Ishwar form of Krishna, a special manifestation, spread his Swarupa Sakti, Vaishnavim Mayam, or Mayam can mean mercy. This form of Ishwara was the object of her surrender in verse 41. I offer my respects to the inconceivable lotus feet of Narayana, who is not to be understood by consciousness, mind, good karma, actions, but is easily realized through surrender. The rest of the chapter and the first part of the next chapter are praise of Krishna by showing him as the Lord. Nanda expresses his feelings of separation, Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto chapter 46, verses 18 through 19. Uddhava and speaks to remove his anguish according to custom. O respectable Nanda, certainly you and Mother Yashoda are the most praiseworthy persons in the entire world, since you have developed such a loving attitude toward the shelter of Mahavishnu, Krishna, who is greater than the Lord of Vaikuntha. Revealing truth through praise, he steadies their emotions.
Okay, I guess I'll read their next part here. Well, Krishna's messenger continued speaking with Nanda. So that's Uddhava. When Uddhava went to visit Vrindavan, Krishna had left for Mathura, and Uddhava went to console especially his parents and the gopis who were feeling really an ocean of separation from Krishna. They were just almost dying out of separation. So he went to console them. And so while Krishna's messenger continued speaking with Nanda, the night ended, O king. The women of the coward village rose from bed and lighting lamps worshiped their household deities. Then they began churning the yogurt into butter. According to the suffering that Nanda revealed, Uddhava pacified him. Nanda's conception of Krishna did not change, however. Actually, the teachings have another meaning, which is shown in Krishna Sandarbha. At Kurukshetra, when the great sages praised Krishna as the son of Vasudeva, Nanda and Yasoda were steady in seeing Krishna only as their son. Raising their two sons onto their seats and holding them in their arms, Nanda and fortunate mother Yashoda forgot their sorrow. The next two verses, Nanda responds to his teachings regarding Krishna's powers. Okay, go ahead, Zoe.
Okay, raising their two sons onto their seats and holding them in their arms. Nanda, I forgot the sorry. And two verses, Nanda responds to Uddhava's teachings regarding Krishna's powers. May our mental functions always take shelter of Krishna's lotus feet. May our words always chant his names. May our bodies always bow down to him and serve him. Whenever we are made to wonder about this world by the Supreme Lord's will, in accordance with the reactions of our fruitive work, may our good works and charity always grant us love for Krishna. And every birth he prays for attraction to Krishna. That prayer is filled with anuraga, and the parents were never devoid of it.
Anuraga is a very high level of love. Okay. Why don't you just read these two paragraphs as well?
As Uddhava was about to leave, Nanda and the others approached him, bearing various items of worship. With tears in their eyes, they addressed him as follows with anuraga. One should thus explain this passage according to their anuraga, not according to Isavara. How do you say that? Yani Bhakti. Yan Bhakti. For instance, the last verses should actually mean, though we will never attain the good fortune of attaining him, we always have rati for him, and may it never disappear. And when he speaks of repeated births, it is in terms of having anuraga each time. Thus, there must be another meaning to the incident according to their pure vatsalya, since the word pada, feet, in verse 66 is suitable for misery, and vatsalya because of separation at a great distance, and the impossibility to attain him at the moment, instead of indicating great reverence for him as the Lord. This is also seen in the Karuna Rasa of Chitraketu. They offer respects to him, pravana, but this is not the meaning. The real meaning is, my mind is always thinking of how he, as a son, using his body, would offer respects to me. The use of the word isarva in verse 67 is used to indicate lalana. The Lord should be merciful to allow us anuruga for Krishna. One sees this usage in the material world also. Thus, the Ubdasvaras of Vatsalya have been discussed. Sorry.
Vatsalya means the parental affection.
Oops, okay.
The 8 sattvika bhavas, there's different kinds of symptoms of Vatsalya. The 8 sattvika bhavas manifest in Vatsalya. Mothers have a 9th, milk flowing from their breast. Vyabhicharis are well known. These arise directly from Krishna's pastimes and from pastimes of Aishwarya produced by his Leela Shakti. Here's an example of Amarsha, impatience. Dear Krishna, why are you so restless that you've eaten dirt in a solitary place? This complaint has been lodged against you by all your playmates, including your elder brother Balaram. How is this? This is an example of Vishmaya, surprise, and Shanka, worry. Because Mother Yashoda was always worried about Krishna, he's not supposed to eat dirt. You get sick if you eat dirt. When Krishna opened his mouth wide by the order of Mother Yashoda, she saw within his stomach all moving and non-moving entities, Bhuvarloka in all directions, along with mountains, islands, oceans, the surface of the earth, the wind, fire, the moon, and the stars. This Sthayi is Vatsalya. Go ahead, Hemang.
Yep. All right. The two mothers took their sons, beautiful with might and cosmetics, in their arms, and gave them their breasts and fed them milk. Looking carefully at the mouths of their suckling children, they became joyful on seeing small teeth when the boy smiled softly. How do you pronounce that, Prabhuji?
Vinaya.
Say, what was the first syllable? Hug?
Agreed. R with a period under it is pronounced R-E, re. Greenaya.
Greenaya means with compassion. Sukadeva speaks.
Okay, go ahead and read the next Anucchedas as well.
All right. Vatsalya rasa is the astonishing combination of the vibhav and other elements. Here is an example of separation before meeting for the first time. The wives of the coward men overjoyed on hearing that Mother Yashoda had given birth to his son, began to decorate themselves with proper dresses, ornaments, black ointment for the eyes, and so on. The meaning is clear, Sukadeva speaks.
Okay, go ahead, Zoe.
Okay, here's an example of the first meeting, CD. Offering blessings to the newborn child Krishna, the wives and daughters of the cowherd men said, "May you become the king of Vraja and long maintain all its inhabitants." They sprinkled a mixture of turmeric power, oil, and water upon the birthless Supreme Lord and offered their prayers. Here's an example of separation after meeting. Thus intensely remembered Krishna again and again. Nanda Maharaja, his mind completely attached to the Lord, felt extreme anxiety and fell silent, overcome by the strength of his love. As Mother Yashoda heard the descriptions of her son's activities, she poured out her tears and milk flowed from her breast out of love. The meaning is clear. Sukadeva speaks. Sukadev.
Here's an example of meeting after that separation called Tushti. Raising their two sons onto their seats and holding them in their arms, Nanda and fortunate Mother Yashoda forgot their sorrow. And on his part, Nanda was also full of affection for his friend Vasudeva, but out of love for Krishna and Balaram, he remained there for 3 months, as if it were 2 days, honored by all the Yadus. That's when Nanda went to Dwarka. Out of love for Krishna and Balaram, they stayed for 3 months. They made 3 months into today and tomorrow. Out of extreme bliss, 3 months passed as if it were 2 days. He was friendly with Vasudeva. In front of Vasudeva, he never showed his desire to bring Krishna to Vraja, acting toward Krishna without revealing his feelings for him as his son. Thus, honored by the Yadus, he stayed. Yeah, he intensely wanted, all the residents of Vraja that were visiting wanted to bring Krishna back to Vrindavan. But Krishna was in Dwarka now, and he was with his other family members. And eventually, especially the gopis. That's why the festival of chariots. You're familiar with Rath Yatra?
Yes.
That's the pastime where Krishna, the gopis, want him to come back to Vrindavan, and they're bringing him back to Vrindavan. That is the pastime of Rath Yatra, and it happens all over the world now.
Mm.
I mean, it used to happen in Jagannath Puri every year, but now it's happening mostly all over the world, um, thanks to Prabhupada's, you know, expanding the Hare Krishna movement beyond the subcontinent of India. Okay, we're going to read this last one here. We'll do 10 verses. So, Hemang, whose turn is it?
I think my turn.
Yeah,
Boy.
go ahead.
Yep. Then again, there was separation. Then after Vasudev, Ugrasena, Krishna, Uddhava, Balaram, and others had fulfilled his desires and presented him with precious ornaments, fine linen, and varieties of priceless household furnishings. Nanda Maharaja accepted all these gifts and took his leave. Seen off by all the Yadus, he departed with his family members and the residents of Braja. He was fully satisfied in his desires, Kamaya, to bring Krishna to Braja. He was privately satisfied by Krishna accepting the proposal. When Balaram came to Braja, Sukadeva said, Krishna, Kamala Patra Patrakse Sanyas, let's see. Tequila. Wait, what was that? No.
Sanyasta Kila Radasa.
Tequila
You got it
Radasa.
right.
Radasa, okay.
Mhm.
The people of Raja had dedicated everything to attain low-side Krishna. Thus, they were not satisfied by anything except his return. That is the meaning of Gamaya. They accepted with affection objects with ornaments, etc., given by the Yadus, and departed with many troops. They were overcome with Brahma.
See,
My mom's name
Krishna,
is
Krishna,
Premila.
Your mom's name is what?
Mom's
What's
name is Premila, so yeah.
your
Remula.
mom's name is Pramila?
Wow.
Yeah, Premila band. So Prem is love, yep.
Prema means love, yeah.
Yep.
But that's the goal of life, by the way. Prema. But Krishna promised to go back to Vrindavan, and he eventually did. It's not in the Bhagavatam, by the way, but he eventually went to Vrindavan after he killed Dantavakra, and he took his chariot, and all the residents of Vrindavan got on that chariot, and they all went back to Godhead. And then he went back to Dwarka. And now, how could all the residents of Vrindavan get on the chariot? Well, time and space are not any consideration in the spiritual realm. And so his chariot was able to fit all those people. And, that's the way, all the universes are actually contained in that 32 square mile tract of land called Vrindavan. So, unable to withdraw their minds from Govinda's lotus feet, Nanda and the cowherd men and women returned to Mathura. By staying in Mathura, which had a relationship to him, they showed their great desire to attain Krishna. Shukadeva speaks the verse. Okay, we'll stop here. It's 10 verses. I promise to keep it to a minimum of, like 45 minutes, exactly 45 minutes. right now. But thank you for both for joining,
Yeah,
and
thank you, Shane.
hopefully we can have more people attend next Sunday night.
Yeah.
That'll be
This
nice.
was
Is
this
your
was
father going to be there next
uh
Sunday?
I am I think so. I'm pretty sure I'm not sure how long he's actually staying here for. Um he didn't even tell me like I was supposed to pick up at the airport. He didn't even tell me what flight he's coming on or anything. He's just like I don't know, he drives me nuts. But yeah, he'll probably be here Sunday, I think.
Yeah, it's yeah, it's
You know what's weird about this chick is that when I just went down to New Brindavan on like over this, Sunday for that workshop,
women's conference, right?
not the women's retreat. This was for Krishna Leela and she does the constellation work.
Oh,
And
okay.
I was in the shop and I saw the picture and I almost got it of her with the stick, the little Krishna, like I'm gonna whip your
Oh
butt.
yeah, yeah. That's
And
called the
I
Deliver
really, and,
label.
and for some reason, it's so weird you're reading this passage because I was compelled to get it. But then I started thinking, if I get that, my son sees it, he'll think, oh, yeah, that's like you chasing me around the houses. I just, I didn't want to
Uh,
I found it so humorous and I found it so compelling. And so I find it so odd that we're reading about this. And I just wanted to mention that. It was very, very
this
strange.
is one of the most famous pastimes in Vrindavan, where this pastime occurred. They have a whole month. It's called the month of Damodar. Damo means binding,
Mm,
and Udara means stomach. Mother
mm,
Yashoda bound Krishna by his stomach to a wooden grinding mortar, and then he
wow.
pulled the two trees down. And Krishna was so beautiful
Hmm.
with his mascara running from his eyes, and he was afraid of his own mother, even though he's the supreme personality of Godhead. And she tried to tie him up, but every
Yeah,
time she tried
actually,
to tie him up, she found some rope in the house and she bound the rope, but it was always like 2 fingers short.
Mm.
And she found
yeah.
more and more rope, and she was like trying really hard. And then she was sweating, and Krishna saw her how she was working so hard. Krishna can't be bound by anyone. He
No.
only
Yeah,
bound by his devotees.
the rope
So
couldn't be tied until Krishna.
yeah,
Yeah,
until he let her,
yeah.
because he saw her laboring so hard, he agreed to be bound, and so he was bound by the rope, and he dragged the border out into the yard and pulled down the Arjuna trees.
And actually,
And,
speaking of the being tied up, I wanted to say earlier, I actually have that Murti, well, not Murti, but picture um, I got from the Kirtan Center, Krishna tied up.
Oh,
yeah,
really?
yeah,
What's
Damodar.
that?
It's really
Damodar.
auspicious. If you ever go to Vrindavan,
Mm.
that is a very, very auspicious time of the year. There's pilgrims going to Vrindavan every year in the month of Damodar because it's so blessed. It's everything you do is like 10 times more potency in
So
Vrindavan at
wait,
that
so
time.
Shik, what does it
When is
represent when Krishna is bound by these ropes? Like, what is that supposed to mean?
What is it supposed to mean? It means he
Strength?
was
Like
being a
what?
bad boy. And he had to be controlled by his mother. And it also means that nobody can bind Krishna unless he agrees to be bound. Nobody can
Mm,
control the Supreme Personality of Godhead. But because Mother Yashoda loved him,
mm,
Krishna agreed to be bound.
mm.
And
Wow,
it
that's
means that,
powerful.
even though Krishna is the Supreme Lord, he was afraid of his own mother. He was
That's
running away.
interesting.
And Krishna, but
Yeah.
she ran after him with greater speed. And so she finally caught up to him,
Hmm.
and he was crying. And, he just acts like an ordinary child. And that's what's so amazing because he's the supreme person. And, the sages and demigods, they can't even understand it because he's acting like an ordinary person, but he is the supreme controller of everything, the origin, the cause of all causes. And, he proved that to Mother Yashoda, but Mother Yashoda, um, even though he lifted Govardhan Hill, even though she saw all the universes in his mouth after he'd eaten dirt that we just read, she still didn't really believe it. She said, "Well, I'm crazy. Am I crazy? What am I seeing here? Or am I crazy?" And I said, "No, I'm not crazy." what is this? I was like, and so she just accepted it as the mercy of Narayan, and just he saw her beautiful son, and she just decided to feed him his breast milk, her breast milk, and she forgot about everything because that is the Vatsalya Ras. He doesn't want to be worshipped with awe and reverence. That's why the residents of Vrindavan are so special because they just think that Krishna is just an ordinary child. And that's the beauty of these pastimes. And he acted like an ordinary naughty boy. And that's what's so amazing about it. And so that is the meaning. It's really just Krishna acting like a human being to attract the attention. There's Krishna's childhood pastimes are the most beautiful. And because he was being naughty like that, that was what all the residents were talking about. The mothers used to complain to Mother Yashoda, look, your son is coming in, he's stealing the milk, he's breaking the yogurt and milk and butter pots, and he's causing a disturbance. And if he can't find anything to break, he'll let loose the calves, and then the master of the house will chastise him, and all he'll do is smile. And they
Yeah.
would just like talk about him like this all the time and
He
lodge
sounds
these
like
complaints with
gold.
Mother Yashoda. And Mother Yashoda would just sit there listening, and then Krishna would, be sitting there just smiling like a very good boy.
Yeah,
But
that's
and then,
my
then
son used to
sometimes he
do.
would just like break the pots, and then if he couldn't find anything else, he would like pinch the babies and make them cry or pass stool or urine in somebody else's house and then run away.
Oh yeah, he did it with Balaram, right? His brother.
Well, yeah, he would like pile up the crates or whatever to reach the pots that were hanging from the ceiling.
Yeah.
And even though it was in a dark place, this bodily effulgence was so bright that it would light up the whole room pretty much. And he could see, even in a dark place. But
Wow.
these are beautiful pastimes, and Krishna's Damodar pastimes are the most beautiful. I've got a little Damodar. He's like he's a butter thief. He's and he's just causes all kinds of mischief. But and he's a thief too. I mean, you'd think that a thief is a bad trait, but actually, when Krishna does anything, it doesn't matter what he does. It's pure. It's perfect.
Mhm.
And if Krishna has a relationship with married uh, girls, that's perfect too. Nobody can criticize him because he's beyond all criticism. And it's actually the highest thing. To have a relationship with other married women is abominable. It's like the worst kind of thing. But when Krishna does it, it's perfect because it does. There's no selfish motive. The gopis were only trying to please Krishna. They weren't trying to please themselves. There's no sense gratification involved, and there was no even sex life involved. Krishna is pure, and his relationship with all his devotees are pure, and it's unending. And so that's what we have to look forward to. If we just keep reading these pastimes, we can become attractive by following in the footsteps of these great devotees like Mother Yashoda and Nanda Maharaj and the cowherd boys and girls of Vrindavan. And then maybe we can one day live in Vrindavan. Wouldn't that be nice?
Oh yeah, definitely.
All right. Well, thank you very much for attending, and maybe hopefully
Okay.
we'll see you on Sunday night at 6 o'clock.
Yeah, it will be
And-
depending on what's going on, but I'll let you guys know because I'm not sure.
Yeah, let me know.
We
Maybe
might be
your
doing
father
a
can get
family
on
dinner
too.
that night or something. I'd probably be the one like preparing it. So
Yeah, okay, no
I did
problem.
want to ask just before we end, when I know the Indian calendar is obviously different from the regular because it's lunar and
Right.
there's like
Mhm.
12, 13 months occurred differently. When when is Damodar month, by the way?
Damodar month is usually October, November,
Ah, okay.
but you can look it up. You just Google it, the month of Damodar 2025. You'll see exactly.
Okay.
I have an ISKCON calendar on my phone. You pay like $1.99, you can get the ISKCON calendar for the East Coast. It'll tell you the exact time and the events that are going on. It's called Let me see if I can look at it here. Anyway, I'll send you the link to that calendar, and then you'll know when all of I mean, New Vrindavan has a physical calendar too. The next big thing going on here. What is today's date? It's the 15th, right?
Yep.
So,
Or
you know, Purnim, Balaram Ras Yatra. Oh, that's on the 12th. That already happened. But anyway, there's always something going on. But it's kind of hard to tell because it is a lunar calendar, so it's always like a few days off. Then
Right.
there's a big festival going on next week, and I might bring my Nrsingadev deity to the Kirtan Center because I did that the last couple of years. Because I have Nrsingadev, and Nrsingadev actually fell on my birthday.
Coming up, isn't it?
Nrsinga, my birthday is May 4th,
Oh,
and I
wow.
am officially old
Oh, come
on
on.
May 4th next month because I'll be 70 years old.
My dad's older than
And
you.
that's like a fossil, and the fossil is about going to be extinct pretty soon.
Oh, come
So
on.
my friend Mike
Krishna
Benoit, he
Leela is
died in his
85.
sleep. He was 70 in New
Krishna
Vrindavan. They had a big
85
ceremony.
and goes around, gives her talks, and does her constellations, and she's 85 doing it.
But anyway, we're not the body.
We're not
So
the body.
we're not the body, we're a spirit soul, we never die.
There you
So
go.
thank you for attending, and we'll see you next Sunday, hopefully.
Thanks. See
Yep.
you.
Haribo.
One of these days I'll make it back to our Kirtan Center. I just normally visit the hospital, so that's why I haven't been there. So,
I
but
know.
I saw you
Well,
guys.
I'm praying for your son to get better, and by Krishna's mercy, you'll be able to get through everything, and with your father and everything. It's kind of like insane, all the stuff that's going on in the world too,
It's really insane.
I'm praying for him as well.
Thanks, Amon.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, you guys.
Bye.
Bye.